How's it going, everyone? My name is Juanma Hernandez and I'm on a mission to help the undocumented community get more jobs to entrepreneurship. In this video, I want to answer one simple question. How do I, as an undocumented person, start my first side hustle? But not only that, how do you make your first $10,000 if you're undocumented, right? When I didn't have DACA, I started a headshot photography business and I made around $10,000 in just the span of a few months, where I would take headshots for college students, first years and fourth years, for their LinkedIn profile pictures. But not only that, I was also able to raise $15,000 as a student. I went through entrepreneurship programs. I did one at UCLA, I did one at Chicago, I did one at UC Berkeley, I did one in Riverside. So a lot of the stuff that I'll be talking about in this video is going to come from my own personal experience. So the first phase is to get people to know you, right? In this phase, you're really not making much money. This is the phase where you're actually just asking yourself, what is my idea and how can I use that idea to solve a problem in society? So for example, when I started my headshot photography business as a student, the problem that I wanted to solve was that students were taking photos with their iPhone to show the professional image. And I was like, hey, I can take way better photos than them, right? And that's how I was able to create a solution, right? So, find problems in your daily life. What is it that you don't like doing, and can you potentially solve that, right? And I actually recommend that you start writing things down. I recommend that you start by listing what are the problems that you have in your own life, and then create a list of business ideas with it, right? So, for example, if you don't like doing laundry, that could easily turn into starting a laundry service for college students, or starting a laundry service by where you live. And feel free to take inspiration from other, websites, use Google, look at other type of businesses that look similar to you, because at this stage, you're just trying to figure out what is the idea, what is the solution I'm trying to solve, and what is the service or the product that I want to do to solve it, right? Now, once you sort of figure out what service or product you want to build, then it's time to get your name out there, right? But not just anywhere. In this phase, when you're just starting to get your name out there, you're trying to find the people that are willing to potentially be your customers down the line, right? So for example, again, with my own headshot photography business, when I started doing this to get my name out there, nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew I was a photographer. So what did I do? I did a free event on campus. I said, hey, I have 20 spots available for anybody that needs a headshot. And that was going to be proof for me to start getting people to come and attend. I had 12 signups, and then I had 6 people actually show up to my photo shoot. And that was enough proof for me to, start doing this, right? And a good question that you want to ask here is, who would this service be good for? You're trying to just identify the first 5, the first 3, the first 10 people that might be willing to try this, because if you could find those 10 people, you're already on a good start. Now you figured out the service, you've already started testing it. What's next, right? So once you sort of proven that your idea is going to work, your next step is to build a portfolio so you could potentially show other people about your work, right? When I did this, like I mentioned, I did a free event on campus, and through all these photos that I took, I then created a quick Adobe portfolio, and I was able to show everybody my headshots, right? And a good question to ask yourself in this, in this phase is just like, what platform can I use to show other people my work? Obviously there's platforms like Wix, there's platforms like Squarespace, Webflow. What matters here is more that you can actually show other people that you are the person that you say you are, that you have some results that you can show people. And remember that at this stage, when you're showing your portfolio, it's more about quality than quantity, right? I only had 3 when I first started. I had 3 images out of hundreds of photos that I had. I chose the best ones, and that's what I would be able to show other people that were interested in this service, right? So by this time, you've already tested your idea, you already have a portfolio. Now it's time for you to go out and try to find these ideal customers, right? Because now you actually gotta start making money. And there's several ways to ultimately get people to know about your service. But the key question here is, who are going to be the first 10 people that are going to buy this service? Where can I find groups of people? Where can I find networks of my ideal customer? So I can start outreaching here, right? So one of the ways that I actually did this when I was starting my headshot photography business was I pretty much did an Instagram advertisement, and I said, whoever sees this ad, they could potentially become my client. And that's how I was able to get one client. And then from there, it was all word of mouth, right? But my mistake here was that I believed that I didn't have a network. And I bet you that if you're watching this video, you're like, okay, I have no network, I don't know how to sort of advertise it. And I disagree with you. Why? Because I just checked my email. I was looking at my emails. I have around 4,000 emails. That means I have 4,000 conversations, 4,000 people that I could potentially contact about my service, right? Similarly, in your phone number, I have around 200 contacts. I can let every single one of those contacts know about my service. And lastly, you could also use social media, right? We all have at least 50, 30, 100 followers on social media. Message every single one of those people. And what you're trying to do here is you're just trying to get leads. You're just trying to get leads. This is the process in marketing called lead generation. You're just trying to get people to know more about your service. Now, you may be wondering, like, what do you tell them? Well, it's simple. You use this template, okay? So you say, I hope this email text finds you well. I am building a name of service for your target client. Do you happen to know of anyone that might be interested in this? And you can use this template via email. You can use this template via text. And when you do it this way, you're not really selling to them. You're pretty much just asking for referrals. Hey, do you know of somebody? Do you know somebody, right? And eventually you do this enough times, you're either going to get one of three responses. Hey, I'm not interested in this. Hey, I might know somebody. Or hey, I am definitely interested for your service. And obviously, right, it depends on who your contacts are. It depends on, whether your product is in alignment with the people that you have in your contacts. I recommend you message at least 5,000, you message at least 2,000 people to start, because at that level, you're gonna get a lot of responses and you're gonna get a lot of feedback. All right, so phase 4. Phase 4 is when you are starting to make between $5,000 to $10,000 plus. And in this stage, your main goal is to continue to get feedback, continue to get customers, get reviews, host interviews once they work with you, and then answer their questions, see how you can improve on this, right? And most importantly, see what is it that they're missing, right? For example, when I did headshot photography, somebody started telling me like, hey, do you do graduation photos? Do you do sorority headshots? And then I was like, oh, okay, potentially. All the feedback that you receive, you put it on a document and you're like, okay, this is actually something that I can include to my service over time. And that's how I was able to go from just taking headshots for $40 to taking, a photography session for $700 in just an hour. And once you do this, you repeat it all over again, right? So once you hit 10,000, all you got to do to scale this is just repeat what you were doing all this time, right? Now, a quick tip on finding your target customer. Think of your business like a tree, right? You could eventually, be at different locations. You could eventually, solve this problem for multiple groups. But get as small as possible. Get as tiny as possible, right? So think of the first 10 people. How can you get those first 10 people? And then from there, think of how can you get 10 more, 10 more, 10 more, 10 more. And eventually you'll get to a point where people are starting to refer you. And because word of mouth is just incredible, right? So when I did, photography, I said I wanted to do headshots for college students. And my mistake was that I was trying to do it at UCLA, Cal State Northridge, Cal State Fullerton, without understanding that to go from UCLA to Cal State Northridge to Cal State Fullerton, it was going to cost money, it was going to cost time. But if I should have just focused on, hey, I'm going to start just doing it at UCLA, that's when I actually started making more money, right? So now what happens after you make your first $10,000? Well, that's for you to decide whether you want to continue doing this as a side hustle, or do you want to build a big company? Do you want to build a nonprofit? Do you want to go and raise money for this? That's all up to you once you sort of do this. And then once you sort of understand what type of business you want to create, then comes the legalization of LLCs, S corporations, C corporations, ITIN, EIN. But honestly, I recommend you make $10,000 because after that, you can just get somebody to pay you. You don't have to learn how to do all these documents, especially if it's your first time building your business, and you don't have a business if you're not making money. It doesn't matter whether you have an LLC by law if you're not making any money, right? Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below on any questions you may have, and go ahead and hit the subscribe button so I know that you enjoy these types of videos. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.